The reward of deeds depends upon the intentions, and every person will get the reward according to what he has intended. So whoever emigrated for worldly benefits or for a woman to marry, his emigration was for what he emigrated for. Allah's Messenger said, Islam is based on 5 principles: to testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and Muhammad is Allah's messenger, to offer the compulsory congregational prayers dutifully and perfectly, to pay zakat, to perform Hajj, i.e., pilgrimage to Mecca, to observe fast during the month of Ramadan. Faith belief consists of more than 60 branches, i.e., parts, and this term covers a large number of concepts which are to be taken together. Amongst them are self-respect, modesty, bashfulness, and scruple, etc., as a part of faith. A Muslim is the one who avoids harming Muslims with his tongue and hands, and a muhajir is the one who gives up all what Allah has forbidden. Some people ask Allah's Messenger, whose Islam is the best, i.e., who is a very good Muslim? He replied, one who avoids harming the Muslims with his tongue and hands. A man asked the Prophet, what sort of deeds or what qualities of Islam are good? The Prophet replied, to feed the poor and greet those whom you know and those whom you do not know. None of you will have faith till he wishes for his brother what he likes for himself. By him in whose hands my life is, none of you will have faith till he loves me more than his father and his children. Whoever possesses the following 3 qualities will have the sweetness delight of faith, the one to whom Allah and his apostle becomes dearer than anything else, who loves a person and he loves him only for Allah's sake, who hates to revert to atheism, he hates to be thrown into the fire. Allah's Messenger said, a time will soon come when the best property of a Muslim will be sheep which he will take on the top of mountains and the places of rainfall so as to flee with his religion from afflictions. The signs of a hypocrite are 3. Whenever he speaks, he tells a lie. Whenever he promises, he always breaks it. If you trust him, he proves to be dishonest. Allah's Messenger said, whoever establishes the prayers on the night of Qadr out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's rewards, then all his past sins will be forgiven. Allah's Messenger said, whoever establishes prayers during the nights of Ramadan faithfully out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's rewards, not for showing off, all his past sins will be forgiven. The Prophet said, religion is very easy, and whoever overburdens himself in his religion will not be able to continue in that way. So you should not be extremists, but try to be near to perfection and receive the good tidings that you will be rewarded, and gain strength by worshiping in the mornings, the afternoons, and during the last hours of the nights. When the prophet came to Medina, he stayed first with his grandfathers or maternal uncles from Ansar. He offered his prayers facing Jerusalem for 16 or 17 months, but he wished that he could pray facing the Kaaba at Mecca. The first prayer which he offered facing the Kaaba was a usher prayer in the company of some people. Then one of those who had offered that prayer with him came out and passed by some people in a mosque who were bowing during their prayers facing Jerusalem. He said, addressing them, "By Allah, I testify that I have prayed with Allah's messenger facing Mecca at Kaaba." Hearing that, those people changed their direction towards the Kaaba immediately. Jews and the people of the scriptures used to be pleased to see the prophet facing Jerusalem in prayers, but when he changed his direction towards the Kaaba during the prayers, they disapproved of it. Al-Bar added, "Before we change our direction towards the Kaaba Mecca in prayers, some Muslims had died or had been killed, and we did not know what to say about them regarding their prayers. Allah then revealed, and Allah would never make your faith prayers to be lost, i.e., the prayers of those Muslims were valid." Allah's messenger said, "If a person embraces Islam sincerely, then Allah shall forgive all his past sins, and after that starts the settlement of accounts. The reward of his good deeds will be 10 times to 700 times for each good deed, and one evil deed will be recorded as it is unless Allah forgives it." Allah's messenger said, "If any one of you follows strictly his Islamic religion, then his good deeds will be rewarded 10 times to 700 times for each good deed, and a bad deed will be recorded as it is." Once the prophet came while a woman was sitting with me. He said, "Who is she?" I replied, "She is so-and-so," and told him about her excessive praying. He said disapprovingly, "Do good deeds which is within your capacity without being overtaxed, as Allah does not get tired of giving rewards, but surely you will get tired, and the best deed act of worship in the sight of Allah is that which is done regularly." Allah's messenger said, "A believer who accompanies the funeral procession of a Muslim out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's reward and remains with it till the funeral prayer is offered and the burial ceremonies are over, he will return with a reward of 2 qirats. Each qirat is like the size of the Mount Uhud. He who offers the funeral prayer only and returns before the burial will return with the reward of 1 qirat only." The Prophet said, "Abusing a Muslim is fusuk, and evil-doing and killing him is disbelief." Allah's messenger went out to inform the people about the date of the night of decree, that there happened a quarrel between 2 Muslim men. The Prophet said, "I came out to inform you about the date of the night of Al-Qadr, but as so-and-so quarreled, its knowledge was taken away, and maybe it was better for you. Now look for it in the 7th, the 9th, and the 5th. One day, while the Prophet was sitting in the company of some people, the angel Gabriel came and asked, "What is faith?" Allah's messenger replied, "Faith is to believe in Allah, His angels, the meeting with Him, His apostles, and to believe in resurrection." Then he further asked, "What is Islam?" Allah's messenger replied, "To worship Allah alone and none else, to offer prayers perfectly, to pay the compulsory charities zakat, and to observe fasts during the month of Ramadan." Then he further asked, What is ihsan perfection? Allah's messenger reply, to worship Allah as if you see him, and if you cannot achieve this state of devotion, then you must consider that he is looking at you. Then he further asked, when will the hour be established? Allah's messenger reply, the answerer has no better knowledge than the questioner, but I will inform you about its portents. 1. When a slave lady gives birth to her master. 2. When the shepherds of black camels start boasting and competing with others in the construction of higher buildings. And the hour is one of 5 things which nobody knows except Allah. The Prophet then recited, verily, with Allah alone is the knowledge of the hour. Then that man Gabriel left, and the Prophet asked his companions to call him back, but they could not see him. Then the Prophet said, that was Gabriel who came to teach the people their religion. Abu Abdullah said, he, the Prophet, considered all that is a part of faith. I was informed by Abu Sufyan that Heraclius said to him, I ask you whether the followers of Muhammad were increasing or decreasing. You replied that they were increasing, and in fact this is the way of true faith till it is complete in all respects. I further asked you whether there was anybody who, after embracing the Prophet's religion, Islam, became displeased and discarded it. You replied in the negative, and in fact, this is a sign of true faith. When its delight enters the heart and mixes with them completely, nobody can be displeased with it. I heard Allah's messenger saying, both legal and illegal things are evident, but in between them there are doubtful, suspicious things, and most of the people have no knowledge about them. So whoever saves himself from these suspicious things saves his religion and his honor, and whoever indulges in these suspicious things is like a shepherd who grazes his animals near the private pasture of someone else, and at any moment he is liable to get in it. O people, beware. Every king has a hema, and the hema of Allah on the earth is his illegal, forbidden things. Beware. There is a piece of flesh in the body. If it becomes good, reformed, the whole body becomes good. But if it gets spoiled, the whole body gets spoiled, and that is the heart. Narrated Abu Mas'ud. The Prophet said, if a man spends on his family with the intention of having a reward from Allah sincerely for Allah's sake, then it is a kind of alms, giving in reward for him. Narrated Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas. Allah's messenger said, you will be rewarded for whatever you spend for Allah's sake, even if it were a morsel which you put in your wife's mouth.